Tell your hand.
Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Stacker News Live. My name's Car and BFF Keyan. How's your day?
My day it's a good day. The sun rose, and it will fall.
Dang,
later
it's
on.
It's almost like every week we start the same way, and you drop like a soliloquy. Is that the right?
Well, what else do I have? I don't know. It's like a normal day. To me, it's not.
Is it more like what's a soliloquy? Am I saying the word right?
I'm not a.
I feel like you
major.
drop like almost like a rhyme.
It's not a rhyme though. It's just
kind of like
what
a
it
rhyme.
is nonsense. It's like I say nothing. I say things that everyone knows happen. That's what I do. Because I just don't know what else to say. It's like I arrived.
Talk about
at
your
work.
week. So I know, but what'd you do though?
I came to work. I worked, and then I went home.
Does every day feel the same for you?
I hope so. I mean, usually that's my goal.
Interesting.
For it to feel pretty good, and that's what I do. How was your week?
It was busy, super busy week. We're doing the Jippy party tonight. Oliver over there is launching into the app stores. Is it both app stores or just the first app store?
Worldwide
Release. He's also going to be streaming it from the Jippy
headquarters.
Jippy profile, whatever. Let me see. If I can. Yeah, Jippy right there. Jippy.app. Check it out. Stackers.
Look at how
launching tonight.
Great it looks.
It looks really clean.
It does.
What do you think about all this stuff?
I'll have more to say once I use it.
Ooh.
But I'm looking forward to downloading.
If he launches real world territories, I'm going to take over 78704. I'm calling it now.
All right, we'll see. What is even 78704?
It's a zip code.
Okay.
You have to take over the O2.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Is it good? Do they correspond to zip codes?
Yeah. I don't know. Do they correspond to zip codes?
More like a geolocation.
Oh, wow. So maybe you don't want to get geo-tracked. So maybe I'll just coordinate around where I live. Who knows?
Okay. Well,
maybe.
Well, there shouldn't be overlap.
Shouldn't be overlap.
So
we'll see.
Both be kings, lords. Jippy
we'll
lords.
be underground kings on Jippy app. Cool. If you've never seen this crazy show before, we talk about soliloquies.
Neither of us know what they are, but we talk
soliloquies.
About them all the time.
It's a thing. Soliloquy. I feel like I'm spelling it wrong now.
What?
Yeah, right there. Look, I'm spelling it right.
It's like what a woman's body part does.
The long, narrow seed pod of many plants of the cabbage. No, I'm thinking the wrong thing. A narrow, elongated two-valve. Nope, I'm thinking, okay.
Sounds
wrong
more
definition.
like the thing I was describing.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, if you've never seen this crazy show before, we cover the top 5 stories on Stacker News, front page of Bitcoin. Check it out. It's a... What is it? Is more stackers? Is more stackers coming on board recently? I feel like people are off of vacation now.
I think registrations are up a lot, so that's good. I looked at that today, and I was like, "Oh, there's more of those than there have been."
What do you think that's attributed to?
I think the AMAs help a lot, so that makes sense. It could be something else, but it's probably mostly the AMAs. I would guess.
Podcast is up. Downloads are up.
That's great. More people hearing my voice.
I think
knowing what I sound like.
I ran into somebody this week and they knew me from Stacker News Live, which is kind of sad. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're the guy from Stacker News Live."
Where else are they going to know you from?
Pleb Lab.
But what properties does Pleb Lab have where they discover you? Because
that's true.
When you do podcasts, you do them under a different brand. This is what I'm telling you about having more than one brand.
Taking out Pleb Lab Live.
Should be one brand. You can do one brand at a time. It's
We're doing Pleb Lab Live next week.
You're not Elon
No more
Musk.
Stacker News Live. Anyways. But yeah, they know me from Stacker News Live. And they love the show.
What's not to love? We've got a cluttered
I spend a whole 2 hours on it every week. It's great.
I spend a whole 2 hours on it as well. We're even.
We're going to jump into the top 5 stories of the week. There's some good ones here this week, right?
I believe so.
I got some spicy stuff to share. We'll see. We'll probably disagree, but I think it'll be good banter. The first top story is some updates about DarthCoin Citadel. This is from
DarthCoin.
Meta territory. 81 comments, 15,200 sats. Why is it in Meta?
I think, DarthCoin is like an old school stacker.
Oh, so he's just claiming it as like meta commentary.
Well, like before we had territories, people would post this kind of this like no category content in meta. And so he's continuing to do that, I think is what's up.
I feel like this should go in mostly harmless.
Mostly harmless would be a good one. But
I really like that territory.
Anyway, this is about DarthCoin. It gives us a recap of his Citadel building following this summer. And it's pretty cool. I think he shared more details about it than he did the last time, specifically like the process of building it. And what I'm like, perhaps the most surprising thing is that he does all of it by hand. He's not using any machines to build this home that he's building in the middle of nowhere, which would probably be hard to get machines there for one, but he could probably get some machinery there, but he's doing it all by hand anyway. So he's like, all of these rocks you see in this picture that we're showing all moved by hand. These earth bags are filled with dirt that he dug out himself and then sifted out the bigger rocks, and just so it's like finer dirt in the bags. And he's showing us that he's lining this house with these earth bags. And he describes that the goal is to build a very small structure first that he can live in while he builds a second bigger structure. And it looks like he's about halfway done with the first structure, if not more. In that first picture we showed, it also showed his fireplace that he built into it. Anyway, it looks really cool. I mean, you could imagine having a really nice, peaceful life somewhere like this. He's going to have hydropower. Maybe he'll have like Starlink internet or something else eventually. But, really impressive what he's done just by hand. Like those are all those rocks were pulled out of dirt by hand. That big giant pile of rocks is all by hand, and has to feel really good to be so, I don't know, so responsible for something that you're benefiting from so directly. And I think I think it might be the opening to the fireplace there, possibly. Not really
interesting.
Sure. Oh no, I think that's another.
Oh, then
wall.
that's how he sifts through the rocks too. That's so cool. I don't know, man. When I look at this, I'm just like, dude, talk about like a massive undertaking. I just could never possibly think about doing something like this,
Why not?
I'm not built to do stuff like this. Like my dad used to force us to go work like with cutting lawns and doing like all manual work. And I used to whine so much about it. That's why my mom threw me in all those art stuff on the weekend. Because I'd be whining about it. I didn't want to go. I mean, there would be some times I would have to go, but it was doing stuff like this, dude. Like, I mean, when I did learn the value of hard work, like, but
you didn't enjoy it.
No, my younger brother did. My two older brothers did.
Yeah.
But I never.
Different strokes. So you'd pay someone to do it. If you were going to do something like this.
No, I would want to join and help, or maybe learn. Like if I knew Darth, like if Darth was a friend here in Austin and he was building this, I'd want to come over and like help him sometimes to help build this while we drink beers or something. That's how I would like want to do it. Yeah.
You're like the friend that shows up like while there's like a half an hour left in the day.
Pretty much.
you throw a little bit of dirt, you pick up a shovel.
Like, yeah, we knocked it out, man.
High five.
Yeah.
You bring the pack of beer.
The only thing I see, this is where I wish I had the vision, but I would love to see what it looks like how he envisions it. Maybe Darth, you can sketch it out. But like, I would like to see what it looks like.
That'd be a great idea. I think what we're looking at here is this will be the front of the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's the back of the house, that back wall.
So this is the front of the house?
Yeah.
The entrance?
This will be, this is like us walking through the entrance, and it's supposed to be a very small little space.
Because all that's going to be used right there. That's part of the house too, right? That pile?
I don't know exactly. I think that's where he's digging it out, but he's showing a lot of care for making sure it's like insulated.
So I just recently saw The Hobbit again. I think if he builds it out, like, because I remember like 2 years ago when he started doing this, he mentioned The Hobbit, or maybe you mentioned it. And it's funny when he just posted this, I was like, oh, dude, I crossed my mind when I was watching The Hobbit. I was like, oh, yeah, this is what Darth was picturing. If you watch The Hobbit, it's like it's like a hill. It's basically a hill that you build a house inside of, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if that's kind of, and I think that's what he said before, but
I think that's part of it. But if you in the past picture, you see that it's not actually directly inside of a hill. It's just kind of adjacent to one, and he dug deep in the hill, and so it's like kind of sort of in a hill, but not completely under one. But it has a lot of great thermal properties when you build into Earth like that. It'll stay cooler in the summer and hotter and warmer in the winter. It'll retain more heat, and so that's kind of the benefit of doing a shelter this way.
Good job. We got the top comment from, let me see here. Top comment was from
Siggy.
Siggy said, I'm wondering about the roof. How are you going to support it? And then Dar says with something like this. And these are like some 4x4s, or what is that? 5x4s? What are they called?
I would guess those are
Four
more
vertical.
Like what is that? Like a 4x8. But yeah, it's just going to put a structure up. It sounded like what he was going to do is he was going to make it lean a little bit on one side so that the water can run off of it. And on top of the roof, he was going to do like a garden on top of the roof, grass, like flowers that mosquitoes don't like the scent of. Is his plan there.
Then he also showed this. I guess this is just kind of scrap wood.
I think that's what he's building the roof out of, is old pallet wood, recycled wood.
And then the next comment was from Scoresby. Says, I'm glad you dig by hand, Darth. I dig by hand. Lots of people say Kubota this or excavator that. I say wrecking bar and a shovel. Okay, I'll admit I use wheelbarrow too, but only sometimes. Keep up the good work. And then Nichiro said, I knew you were a savage, but I didn't know you were such a savage. Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah, true.
I love this one. It will come. In due course. What if he is Janet Yellen? Or not Janet. That's not Janet Yellen. What if he is, just what's this lady's name again?
Legrand? Is that her
Victoria.
name?
No, not Victoria. It's, I forget her name.
Something that we don't know.
Anyway,
it's a soliloquy. That's what it is.
Anyways, great post. Anything else you got on this?
No, I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
Oh yeah, see the first two parts here, Stackers.
Yeah, he wrote them up on his Substack. He also has them on Stacker News. I think he put them on Stacker News.
This is what it used to look like. Oh yeah, it is the Hobbit house. See?
Yep.
Don't paint it red though, Darth.
Why not? What's a good color?
Bad luck.
Oh, is it?
Red doors.
Is a red door bad luck?
No.
Okay. So what's a good luck door color?
Anything but red.
Oh.
This is interesting. Look how he's, dude. Wow. It's almost like a monk.
It's really impressive how little you need.
Look at that.
To live well.
And where it is now. See? That's why I always say, just get it started. It doesn't matter where you start from. Just get started. And it can look like that. And then before you know it, it looks like this.
Without a red door.
Yeah.
Bad luck. Sauron will come back.
Darth, if you need help a weekend, let me know. I'll come by with some beers and
you have to hike, I think, and deep into the mountains.
I'll just do Stacker News live from there, and Keyan will be wherever you're at.
Yeah, you'll be all grainy and breaking up.
The next top story is the current state of building in Bitcoin. This is from Tristan, August 27th. 28 comments, 10,600 sats. Keyan, Bitcoin territory. What is this?
This is Tristan venting about building on Bitcoin. Tristan is a co-founder of BitEscrow, which is trying to do escrow on Bitcoin, and he's just talking about how hard it's been not only to like build the technical stuff and navigate a co-founder relationship, but raising the funds to continue to do it, the emotional roller coaster of building something and having these losses. So you're like working very hard and then having losses. It tends to confuse people psychologically and emotionally quite a bit, and really just mess you up. And that so he's describing that here. He ties it into the Mutiny wallet stuff, ties it into more ecosystem things. Talk about how it's easier to do altcoins, and which is a common narrative we hear. But I think good right place to do it. A lot of people are in similar spots now. I know a lot of founders who are trying to raise and having trouble. So,
yeah. Top comment was from Golu. He says, keep building, please. I'm in the logistics business. I'm very new to Bitcoin. What I can understand so far is that Bitcoin is the perfect logistics of money. If it's perfect, nothing is going to stop it. Coins Reporter said, finally making good strides, bro. Team Up Pleb says, I like the phrase, the perfect logistics of money. Coins Reporter said, over the years, I've witnessed that Indian Bitcoin devs have been migrating to friendly countries in huge numbers, leaving behind blank space here. The government is killing innovation here.
Yep.
Tony Giorgio said, you're a good dude, man. Appreciate your thoughts and your words. The saddest part is this. And then he quotes Tristan saying, even if we have a solution for something that Lightning isn't ready for, the average person still doesn't care about Bitcoin, end quote. Tony goes on to say, all the issues you laid out are indeed issues, but ones that can be worked past. But changing consumer behavior, even amongst Bitcoiners, i.e. spending Bitcoin, isn't a solvable problem. Small startup can tackle within the small timeline they have to work with, even thinking and talking about new problems that align with us, but are more broader than just Bitcoin is challenging and against the status quo. Your redesigns, pivots, and refocuses have been admirable, and no matter what you're doing with Bitcoin or otherwise, hope you get much success. You're on a great life track. You got any thoughts on there?
I think it's very nice, very sweet message from Tony, and shows a lot of empathy, and I think that's great.
You got Ryan Dale. He said, "Hang in there, dude." Blockchain Boog, salute. Everybody chimed in.
Yeah, lots of great, encouragement. I think a lot of people can identify with this feeling.
I mean, one of the lucky things I think about building on Bitcoin is the opportunity to, do something without anybody's permission. I think that was always the cool thing that I loved about building in the Bitcoin space. Is like I didn't need to, ask permission to go and build. So I think that's kind of really cool about it. The other side to that is, but when trying to get investment, because I do think it's much easier. It was much easier when we started Keyan to get fundraising. I could be wrong, but
I think it was easier, certainly on a relative basis.
And I think now there's definitely more ways to get capital. If you want to go the HRF route or the OpenSats route, you can go do that. There's places like Pleb Lab you can come work out of, and we can help you get to that point. There's a lot of opportunities to go out and join a workshop, or do there's so much more opportunities now, and there's hackathons, and there's Wolf, there's other stuff that's going on. So I think it's never been better to have the opportunity to do a Bitcoin company, but I do think to get a raise and to in this environment at least, and I have a whole another thing we can talk about if you want to continue on about that. But I think it's much harder to get a raise if you're doing a strictly a Lightning only company without a layer 2 option in there.
Well, I'm not so sure that that's the exact case. I think money is dried up generally. So I don't think it's about a specific tech thing. I think it's money's dried up generally, and people are looking for, strictly certain kinds of alpha, like alpha, like double alpha, and not just normal alpha. And so that might, just because money's a little bit tighter. And I think, back to what you were saying originally about permission, raising money is permission. So that's, if doing what you love, what you want to do with your life requires raising money, you're going to have to ask for permission. And if no one's giving out permission, you're going to have a hard time. So in many cases, in most cases, it'll help you raise if you would keep building it despite not having money. That's a big filter. Imagine dating a woman, and you're she's like your only shot. You're that desperate, and you're begging, and you're I'm not going to date anyone if I don't date you. How attractive are you to that woman? It's the same thing for an investor. It turns people off. It's you have to be. They have especially with investment or dating, people are looking for resilient people. They don't want a partner that they're going to have to kind of drag around and baby. So anyway, but to Car's point, it is harder right now.
Also, too, you got to recognize a lot of these. This is just me talking, not Keyan. A lot of these people who started investments and started these funds, they just got punched in the teeth, with the recession, along with the founders out there and the depression that we're in. And there's not a lot of exits. This is why you see like Fold and some of these other companies that are now are going to be IPOing. And hopefully that'll find its way back into the ecosystem. I think once we get to 100K, I think there'll be more money funneling its way in. Obviously, these are just kind of my little, tea leaf reading kind of thing. But I would imagine like once all this kind of plays out, I think the space will get a little bit more. Maybe it probably will still be just as hard, but it'll probably just be like maybe a little bit less, maybe. I don't know.
I just want to respond to one thing there that you said, and it's that the VCs want to give you money. They want to give you money. They don't have much money right now either, and so they're in a similar spot. It's not like they don't think you're building something great and they don't want to help you. It's just that they get permission from people who have even more money or more disposable money, and then you get permission from them. And so and the people at the very top, they get permission from the Federal Reserve Bank, printing more money, and which they haven't been doing for as much for a while. So that's just kind of the way things are right now. But I would just encourage to keep building and try to figure out a way to.
But also I would say add eCash, add Nostr, add layer 2.5, layer 4, layer 5, add decentralized, add all that stuff in the deck. It can't hurt. Kidding.
Yeah, I don't recommend doing things you don't believe in. But
yeah. you gotta make fun of it. That's the only thing you can do. You gotta laugh about it. It's hard times. You gotta laugh about it.
I don't know. The money is where there aren't people already. So if you're going into eCash because you think there are other people building eCash stuff, you're likely late to the party. You want to be that first guy who's into eCash stuff, really. So yeah. I don't. There's
a whole shtick to it. You just wear a mask. You say you're full on eCash. You say you're gonna do layer 3 stuff, and people hand out money. That's how it works right now.
It's a good sign if people don't believe in what you're building and that they don't understand it. In some respects, it can be a good sign because you're building something truly differentiated. But it does make it harder to communicate it. Anyway, there's a lot here, but Tristan found a lot of people who share his pain, and hopefully
But it's somewhat true, though. I mean, we're kind of at that point right now where, like, if he added, like, honestly, if BitEscrow added, like, they're going to build a layer 3 or some token attached to it, they would totally get different looks at it. If the fact that they're doing Bitcoin only doesn't help them. Come on, Keyan.
No,
that's.
I don't think so. I think whatever likely criticisms there are of the product, it happens regardless of whether they're.
So Topher just explained BitEscrow last night at San Antonio Bitcoin Club, and you just saw all the people in the room. They're like, "Whoa, you could do this, you could do this," and there does seem to be some sort of like king making in this process, and I don't mind saying that because it's fucking true. And when you see somebody who's been building for 3 or 4 years, it kind of feels like that, and I don't mind saying that because they need to hear this, and they will hear this. But this is what's going on. And it's okay, you don't have to agree with me, but it does feel like that. And I think this is kind of the thing that he wants to say, but I'll say it for him.
Well, that could be true, but that's also something that people say when the world doesn't work out the way they want it to, they blame everyone but themselves. And in the case where there's a kingmaker that's keeping me from winning.
Unless it's actually happening to multiple founders, and then it's like, okay, then I would agree in a certain sense there, Keyan, but if it's happening to multiple founders, which we just said earlier, then there's probably some of that.
I'm just saying that you have to be careful with the way you explain your losses to yourself. And if it's other people's faults, it's hard to tell.
100%. But if there's a group of investors that are saying like, no, go, like, hey, no, we don't get to come down and save you. Don't get, like, there is a sense of that. And for me to say that, it's definitely there's a sense of that, and it's not just me saying it. There's a group of us that feel this way. It's not just like one or two people. It's not just Car and his rants. That's all I'm saying is just like it feels like that. Obviously, they need to hear this so that way they know that this is going on. That founders feel like this, so they can then answer to it. That's all I'm trying to bring out. I'm just trying to bring it to light. A lot of people who invest in these funds are OGs who listen to this, and so they need to hear that feedback as well. That's all.
I didn't realize your sister was an OG, but thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.
All the funds that you join.
Before you put in the fund, before you put in their funds, ask them this question. That's all I'm saying. Like, those people are listening to this pod. Ask them the question. That's it.
Maybe don't ask them that question if you're trying to get money from them. Maybe wait until the check is cleared.
Well, I mean, if all these people are dropping their Bitcoin and their savings into these funds, they should ask them, like, hey, what is this that I keep hearing that founders aren't getting the funding they need? Like, they should probably ask that question. That's all I'm saying. That's it. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
All right. Well,
anyways, good post, Tristan. The next top story is Pavel Durov, co-founder of Telegram, arrested in France. Privacy territory, August 24th, tax D, 73 comments, 2,159 cents. Baby boy, they got him.
They did get him. So, yeah. So this guy is the founder of Telegram, and he was in France. You know, France is nice. He's probably just like hanging out in France, and apparently got arrested, and he's getting charged with very serious crimes. And isn't allowed. I think it's like €5 million bail he had to pay, and I think he cannot leave France. He's out on bail, but he can't leave France. He has to check in twice a week with officials there. The charges, I think, mostly amount to him not cooperating with French authorities enough. And then, you could read into it deeper if you want to and say that it might have something to do with, possible international Telegram use in, foreign affairs of, governments that are kind of not aligned with the West. But who knows, really? There was Mike Benz has been talking about this quite a lot, quite eloquently, and thinks that there might be something more coordinated happening with the general West leadership in trying to get backdoors into Telegram, or possibly they might think that Telegram is cooperative with Russia specifically. But that's all that's mostly speculative. I mean, people who like reading between the lines might find that an interesting story. But otherwise this is pretty damning. I think the Rumble founder flew out of Europe when this was announced. I think Elon Musk has expressed fear of going to Europe for being arrested. And so this has ramifications for any kind of technology that isn't willing to, bow down to the demands of not only just the U.S. government or even European governments, but governments in other countries, because them not interfering in the right way in those countries is against the interests of the West. And so it's it can get kind of messy, but sad to see.
Satoshi Nakamoto came in, and this is one of the bottom posts that didn't get zapped, but he hit on this right away. This is kind of how I saw it. He have two citizenships. So I think he had a citizenship in Russia and a citizenship in, where was the other one? I forget the other one. And then he broke a rule. I think he broke two rules. The first rule is he created a shitcoin. So that already puts a target on your back. That shitcoin was traded, or you could use it inside of Telegram, which had 300 to 500 million users by the end of the decade. It's already one of the biggest messaging apps. I'm not on there.
The news is saying a billion users is what the news says.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say is and this is this is why I'm surprised that people are still kind of barely discovering that there's a problem here. This has been the way forward for a while now. This is the world that we live in. You can't be free anymore. You can't dominate. You can't dominate in this capacity. The way this guy was dominating, you can't dominate like that anymore and still be free.
He also has thousands of children because he's like one of those mega sperm donors. I don't know if Car is talking about domination that way, but that's
No, I'm talking about domination, and the fact is, like, he's not playing ball. He went on Tucker Carlson, said some crazy things. He has 300, 500 million users. He has his own shitcoin, and he's winning.
He's got thousands of children in Europe.
Thousands of children, has 2 citizenships. He's just it was an easy target for them to pull. And it's like Kanye said this like months. Remember when all that whole Kanye thing? I'm bringing in Kanye. Remember when Kanye was like, not one man should have all that power. Like this is a real thing. They will terminate you if you get too big for your britches, and then if you go and beat your chest about it. This is the world that we live in, Keyan. It sucks. This is the world that we live in.
I don't live in that world. I live in the internet.
Yeah. Anyways, you don't think this could happen to you?
It won't.
Stacker News gets too big. You don't comply.
No.
Why not?
Because I'm sneaky. I don't know. I don't know why it wouldn't happen. I don't know. Because why would it happen? I wouldn't go out. I would probably be way more like anon and not go on a
big podcast,
an
like
alt podcast. And
it's one thing to say your
talk
opinion
about alt stuff.
It's one thing to say your opinion on this small show that no one watches.
Exactly. Katie, I don't know Katie too well, but I don't think she's working for Macron.
No. But yeah, this is where I think. But like once you if you go on some of these bigger pods and you say certain things, like they're watching, man, they're taking notes. You're just an end of the quarter kind of thing they need to justify their position.
I mean, they might have done this regardless. They're, apparently Telegram is used by governments around the world, and so there's some feeling of entitlement for like the bigger governments to want like back doors into those communications. But maybe it just was a simple matter of French authorities asking for his help in certain criminal investigations and him telling them to fuck off repeatedly. That's what the claim is. So
it makes you wonder, like all the people that didn't comply, or that did comply and they haven't said they complied. That's what I'm more fearful now.
I think shortly after this, Mark Zuckerberg released that letter. Did you not see that letter that Mark? I don't know if it was
in here.
I don't know if it was even shared on Stacker News, but he released a letter talking about requests for censorship that the Biden administration asked of Facebook and Instagram, and that they complied with, that they regret, and that he at the time he thought it was wrong, but he was told that it should be done. Like they censored the Biden laptop story, the Hunter Biden laptop story, because they were told that it was a lie. Ended up being true. Similarly with COVID stuff, they were told to suppress like all kinds of speech on COVID stuff, things that were factually accurate but inconvenient, or So he went out. He's a similar thing is like, wait. I maybe aligned myself with the wrong.
Yeah, I don't trust anything that
people.
I don't trust anything he says.
I don't know. I'm probably a little more.
Yeah, you're a big Zuck fan though.
No, but I do not think he is lying in this regard. I do think I think when people talk about their regrets, I think they usually are honest about it more so than normal.
Yeah, maybe. Any other thoughts? Oh, I think that let me bring up the top comment. The top comment was from Rsync25. It says it's time for Nostr. It doesn't exist other way. Do you think that's true?
I don't think it solves this problem yet. It might eventually. I think protocols have the ability to, more so than a platform like Telegram, to be able to avoid this, because they might imprison Fiat Joff, but you still have someone like William running a relay, and they might imprison Primal people, but then you have Fiat Joff still running a relay, and so on. So it does have
whack-a-mole.
Yeah, there's a bit of whack-a-mole going on, and people don't like playing whack-a-mole because it's like generally a losing game. It's like a carnival game. So I don't, that it does have more potential to be free of this issue than Telegram does.
Are you still using You use Telegram for Stacker News, don't you?
We had a chat, but it got filled with trolls, so I shut it down.
So what do you use for chat now?
I still have Telegram groups that I'm part of. We have like a Bitcoin Founders Telegram group where we discuss Bitcoin founder stuff. But that's mostly it. I
think
contact some other Bitcoin founders.
I started a Simplex, so I spun one up for Thriller because we have a community on Thriller, and I spun one up over the weekend.
Yeah, we have a Simplex chat.
So I would say move over to this. Jack's funding it. I think he gave out a grant for it. So that's good to see.
Yeah, they have a really interesting architecture.
It's really nice. It's really, really nice. So it's just tough because a lot of people use Signal. So it's hard to transition them over. A lot of people use Signal. A lot of people use Telegram. It's hard to transitioning people to Simplex. So anyways,
these things are becoming more common, and I think as this stuff increases, more demand will increase for alternatives. So that's good.
Any advice you would give to people that are building stuff that would be considered?
What is this ticket thing we keep saying?
I don't know. Any advice you would give to people that are building similar things like Telegram to be aware of, because they won't get scooped up?
I don't have any advice. I mean, the reason Telegram was built, I assume the way it was, is because it was a way that made sense and worked and scaled to 1 billion people. And there's not much of a solution other than using protocols instead, and using protocols that are capable of decentralizing and scaling to a similar level. And so one or the other. Hopefully governments began liking free speech at some point, and then we can have choice to do one or the other. But yeah, I don't know.
I would say definitely, like, if you're listening to this and you're a Bitcoiner or whatever, you're probably more of a target than you realize, I would say. And then also, like, normal people, like we were at SABC last night talking about this, and they don't even know this is going on. So. The next top story is Bitcoin is Withdrawal. This is from Catcher, August 26, Fireside Philosophy Territory, 19 comments, 2,033 sats. Keyan, what is this?
Yeah, I thought this was great. Basically talks about what it feels like to be a Bitcoiner and having to depart from more traditional expectations and values around how you think about spending money. Like, you're basically withdrawing from convention is what he means by the title. And he describes trying to communicate to his wife that they shouldn't get another mortgage, they shouldn't buy another house, that they shouldn't deal with that, and instead put their money in Bitcoin. And he's basically discussing feelings that he has around that, feelings that his wife has around that, and that you're departing from the herd. It does feel very lonely and isolating, vulnerable, and it can be difficult, and why many people probably don't or won't do it. But that's what he's saying. He's the process of learning about Bitcoin. He basically had to do, and it might be why the transition to Bitcoin for some people is so hard and so significant and profound, is that they're having to revise their financial expectations, which in modern life is like the majority of people's expectations. It's like most of their hopes and dreams are all tied up in possessions that they'll have. And so it can be a really big pill to swallow, the orange pill.
Yeah, we have a top comment. It was from M. Domino Corbrun 24, said, I could really grasp what you were going through. I started with Bitcoin in 2011. Now 13 years have passed. The withdrawal was excruciating as I was too attached to the system that was too attached to the brainwashing outside the Bitcoin universe. Now I'm ready to leave the old world behind. Hala Money says, I admire your conviction and the clarity of your thought process. South Korea says, I still spend time on stuff that give me joy. A nice bike, exciting holidays, a place to live for my family. I don't see any of those as a ways to store my wealth. They are all depreciating assets, and that's okay. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I like that's beautiful.
Yeah, I think I mean, most of the research shows that you primarily want to spend money on experiences, and that's basically what that's describing. You know, a nice bike it's maybe a material possession that buys you experiences in some ways for a low cost. It's like a low cost material possession on a relative basis to a house, say.
Yeah, it really is just about experience. The older you get, the more you realize it really is just about the experience and those little pockets of time that you created along the way, and everything else doesn't really matter.
No, I mean, you were in your head, you were like in your body and your head, and you know, whatever, like, you know, source, as some people say, that's you.
That's why
the possessions are.
That's why, like the post earlier with Tristan is so important. I think what the message that he was saying is just like, just keep building it. Like, who cares if no one wants to help you? It's even more of a reason to keep doing it. If anything, it's just going to be that much more one of those when you get it punched in. It's going to be a hard fist to pump in the air. So you got really
even if it isn't, but that's
what I'm saying. You got to do it just because you love doing it, and I think, you know, that's the reason to do it. You know, you got to really love what you're doing.
Yeah. If you kind of,
I think that's what he's saying.
Need it to work out, maybe not.
Yeah.
The right thing to do.
I've been reading. I went through Dante's Inferno now, the Purgatory, and then the ending, the Paradiso. Paradise.
Nice.
It's really nice.
Looking forward to that.
Like, so I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't read Dante's three act comedy, but that third part is really fascinating when it talks about God and about how it's all set, or at least to his understanding. To his understanding at the time, it's pretty fascinating.
Did Dante have? He didn't have like a particular.
So he was a theologian.
Okay.
And then he was also really inspired by Aquinas.
But doesn't fancy himself a prophet.
No. I think he was because, dude, it's so beautiful. The way the starts out, and he was going through like a midlife existential crisis. It felt like when you read it. And that's like, there's a lot of analysis around it. I would just go down a YouTube rabbit hole. And but I was watching like a story picture book type of thing, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Peter Jackson really should make this into a movie, man.
It would be cool.
I'm just gonna keep putting it out there in the world, and somebody will.
Hopefully,
it's so cool.
I don't think it's a Peter Jackson though. Isn't that dude super old now?
No, I think he's the one that made The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but isn't he like?
But he could do a trilogy like this.
End of career.
No, dude, he did the Beatles. So he did the Beatles remake.
Wasn't that like a decade ago?
No, he did that like 5 years ago or 3 years ago.
Okay.
I think he can do it.
I just think we need to find these young new creators.
Oh yeah, like we get like Robert.
We need
Eggers
a new
or
Peter
something.
Jackson. You know?
Did you see they're doing a Nosferatu remake?
I don't know who that is.
Oh. It's like the first like scary movie, I guess you could say. Anyways, this is good stuff, man. Bitcoin is withdrawal. I love it.
Yeah, it's a great.
Is this a new territory, fireside philosophy?
No, we've had that for a while. I think it's Frost Dragon. Yeah.
This stuff you talk about around a fire with some whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Very cool. Yeah, we've had some great posts in that territory that are like exactly like
the fire too. Yeah, that's true. And then the final, is this final top story?
Yes. This
Final top story is the Freedom Tech Stack. This is from Gray Ruby, August 26th. Meta territory, 38 comments, 2,163 sayets. What's this?
Yeah. So this is Gray Ruby. In the wake of Pavel's arrest, he's, like, how do I avoid, I don't know, becoming something like a Telegram user and getting my freedom revoked. And he's like, what tech stack do you recommend for me to not have that happen? And, and he also lists out these other things that have happened recently, the Samurai arrests, the Tornado Cash stuff, other kinds of censorship, Canadian truckers, Gray Ruby's a Canadian. Yeah, and just ask, and we get some great answers. Like
the top one.
Yeah.
Looks like Nitro says Graphene OS on the phone, Brave and Firefox for browsers, Fedora Linux on laptop, Proton Mail, simple login aliases, bounce between a few VPNs to accept Bitcoin as well. Gary Ruby's excellent suggestions.
Yeah, that was a lot of standard fare stuff we see discussed on Stacker News quite a bit, but then a lot of other commenters have given if they have a particular discipline or job, they have their own freedom tools that they like to use to help them do their job. We had one post by, I think it's Psycho Sage, that he shared in the wake of that.
Mm-hmm.
The post is called Self-Sovereign Digital Ecosystems, and they're a designer, a web developer and a graphic UX designer, and they list off a bunch of like open source, like FOSS tools that they use to do UX stuff and other development stuff, things like OpenOffice. They have like Inkscape as an Adobe Illustrator alternative.
That was under privacy?
This got posted under Mostly Harmless. But self-sovereign, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, but a lot of cool, like a nice list in there. And they describe themselves as, maybe slightly more paranoid than most. But I think some of these tools, like a lot of these I hadn't heard of. I use Obsidian, but Pinpot I didn't know was an alternative to Figma.
Oh, interesting.
I've heard of KeyPass and Blender, but yeah, each discipline probably has their own freedom stack.
What's your freedom stack, Keyan?
I think this is an interesting thing because it's like, what is your threat model and what do you care about being free in? And I mostly care about being free in terms of money. That's like the main thing I'm concerned about being free about. Most other things I don't really care too much about for some reason. I'm not as protective or conservative of most things, but with money, yeah. So freedom stack with money is obviously Bitcoin stuff.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That was a great post. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
And that's all the top 5 stories of the week. We're going to jump into my favorite segment of the week, and that's the Coob segment, where we get to talk about Coob's post. What'd you pick this week?
Yeah, I thought this was a great post. This was shared by Matt Black, who's a co-founder of Atomic Finance. But last week we reported on the forced closures that happened in the wake of like some kind of rune minting that drove up fees to what you in this picture, 800 cents per VByte. And he was responding to because a lot of these Alby forced closures were reported on Stacker News, and he's like, "Man, how terrible is this UX for Lightning that this happens?"
Bad timing too, dude, for Alby.
Yeah, right.
Even I was down on it last week too, as well. I was so pumped.
Yeah, to like someone who didn't know better, it'd probably appear that Alby shipped this product that had a bug that would cause forced closure.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. But it wasn't. I don't think it was their fault at all. So, and it just is this quirk in Lightning that happens when fees spike, and it kind of describes why this happens, and describes how it's solved by package relay, which is going to ship in Bitcoin Core version 28. This is something Gloria's been working on since I first met Gloria. I met Gloria in Chaincode
Name drop
class. I talked to her one time in a video call, but
name drop.
She was doing that class and she began working on this stuff.
Oh, with Chaincode? Oh, boss. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you were in Chaincode, right?
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
They had a lot of stars back then.
Around the time that I was starting Stacker, while I was building Stacker News, I think I was in Chaincode.
Wow.
Anyway, this has been merged and will release with Bitcoin Core 28. And what this allows is for this fee negotiation for channel closes to be amendable in the future, because you can tack on another transaction onto this closing transaction and it gets all relayed as one package. So that's kind of the idea. Is like right now, you kind of have these packages are separate and they're dependent on each other. But the problem is that the first package might get lost because it doesn't meet the the stamp on it isn't worth enough.
So like replaced by fee, you mean? Or RBF?
No.
Okay.
No. This is child pays for parent is the type of fee bumping that this is where you have a transaction, a child transaction that pays for the parent transaction. And right now, those are two separate things that get relayed separately. But this change makes it so the child and the parent, they're never separated.
I thought that's why the mempool had the accelerator thing. Or am I wrong on that too?
Yeah, but mempool's accelerator is not a generic solve for this problem in Bitcoin. It's a solve for people who have the permission to use mempool's accelerator, because it's a centralized transaction accelerator that has permissioned relationships with miners to basically, sneak a secret entrance to a block. Is basically what a paid secret entrance to a block is, what something like a mempool accelerator is, which is very useful for a variety of things, but not a solve in the way that we would like, which is like this censorship resistant means of getting things included in a block.
So does this help Lightning or?
Yes, this solves this forced closure problem.
Okay.
The specific forced closure problem that we saw. It has a variety of benefits for other layer 2 protocols that rely on getting transactions in a block within a certain period of time. And so DLCs is another example where I believe you're trying to update an attestation of what happened within a certain time period. But this is, I think, the beginning of many updates in this regard that will help us defend layer 2 protocols like Lightning that have this race, this like mempool race that relies on fees.
Yeah, I was hanging out with Topher, and he's super excited about this package relay stuff. I heard about it yesterday. He was explaining it to me. So
cool.
I got so many smart people around me explaining all this stuff. It just goes out one ear through the other. It's hard for it to stick. I don't know how you guys are able to stick all this stuff in your head.
It has to have something to anchor to most things that you learn. And so if the concepts that it's all based on are kind of fuzzy and slippery already, it's just going to slip as well.
I'm bullish on you guys. You guys are figuring this stuff out. Look at this. All the devs.
I mean, I've been working on this. Maybe Topher has had some say on this, but I've just been, I'm mostly an observer.
But
I didn't even know
you're talking about it though, but
I vaguely understand it. That's my contribution.
Good job. Good job to Matt too, explaining this. Look at this. This is how you write a post.
Yeah, great post.
That's awesome. All right. The other one that you brought up was, do you want covenants? Keyan, do you want covenants?
I want more. I responded in here, but I want more self-custody. That's basically what I want. If covenants give people if it enables people to have easier self-custody, it'll have more people will have self-custody, and that's good. And that's mostly the way I view it. I know a lot of other people think that any opcode that adds more functionality to Bitcoin enables scams. Even if it enables other good things, if it enables one more scam, it's not worth it. And I don't think I subscribe to that view. I kind of think about it the opposite way. I think about it like laws. I think, you criminalize drugs, you create a black market for them. I believe, you have these restricted rule sets. I believe you end up, I believe freedom is good. And I believe, and Bitcoin already has defenses against like outright abuses of it, because you have to pay for the block space that you occupy. And I believe if Bitcoin had expressive enough script language, that we would have a lot more good people using Bitcoin for good purposes, and it would price out bad people, quote unquote bad people. That's my general point of view, but I don't know about any specific proposal and whether I support that specifically. I said in here that if I had to decide, gun to my head, in that moment, what I would choose, it would be great script restoration.
You said scammers are going to scam regardless. I love that. That's a carism, I think.
Well, I just don't think. And then we had some back and forth. I think Justin from Shocknet, what did he say? He said, saying scammers are going to scam regardless is like leaving your door open. I don't know how that makes any sense to me. What I'm saying is that regardless of the door that I put in, someone's going to try to break in. And I'm not saying I want to leave it open. I'm just saying I want a door that maybe good people will stand and defend in front of or something. Maybe it serves beer. I don't know. But it's not a fair analogy in my opinion, but this is kind of, these discussions need to happen. I hope he shares his point of view somewhere other than just the conclusions alongside.
I would take a look at this, Steggers, if you're interested. I don't really have an opinion on it. This is Car staying in his lane.
Car's in his lane today. Lucky
I'm
day.
totally in my lane. In my lane today.
Passengers, get aboard.
No,
He's
the way
stay in his lane.
honestly, I've talked about this before, and I think I said it on the show many times. I think everybody has a job to do in Bitcoin. Yes, it's open and it's decentralized and all that kind of stuff, but there's an order to this. Maybe it's not something we talk about publicly. Maybe it's something that we all just know inherently, but the devs need to figure this out, because I don't know what the answer is. I'm just a pleb on the ground trying to spread adoption, trying to help people. Like, there's a lot of plebs that are doing their job right now, and so the devs need to figure this out so we can get it to scale. That's how I look at it. Is that you gotta trust the people. You gotta trust the process. So I think it'll just get figured out. But I don't know enough to talk about it. But I hear you guys talking about it all the time, and I'm just like,
it's a complicated thing, and it's, basically everyone's trying to predict the future, and you have people who predict the future will be bad, people who predict the future will be good. It's a lot like a political debate.
I would say the thing that I would say is just be careful who you're listening to on the subject, because everybody has a reason why they want to do it that I've seen. And this is just like taking an outside perspective from it.
Yeah, everyone has their own motivations.
And that's just facts.
Yeah.
Everybody's co-opted by something. Not in a bad way, just co-opted by some
people have them in bad ways. But yeah, I don't, everyone has a bias. And so you have to
has a bias.
Factor that in.
See, this Car stayed.
I mean, if I were a Michael Saylor, I would be like, institutions don't need any more self-custody.
I thought we were supposed to be making Bitcoin for Michael Saylor.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I do. I wake up every day and I just send him.
I have my Michael Saylor thing right when I go out the door, and I go like this, and
I kiss
this
it.
is for you, Michael.
I kiss
and I
it lips right on. I don't do the fingers. No, it's full tongue.
Oh,
Cut a little hole in it. Anyway, but yeah, there's a certain. I imagine if you have like huge bags in Bitcoin and you have like private keys you haven't touched in a long time, you're like, don't change anything about Bitcoin, please. My wealth, I'm rich. You're gonna keep me from being rich.
Anyways, good on Jimmy for bringing this out. We'll see what the devs figure out. I don't know. And then my story this week was Peter McCormick closing his show. Did you see this? It's kind of sad. Did you ever listen to his show?
Yes, I'm a fan of his show. I think he does a great job. He's like an everyman of Bitcoin.
It was a highly look at this. There's a lot of back and forth with it. I was surprised. Pleb Poet had the top comment. She said, "I think that's really awesome. He's earned the freedom to explore and sharpen his voice and widen his reach, sacrificing for it up front, only growing alongside chaos, to now being able to mold it into the life he wants. That's professional." Well said.
Very positive. Very nice.
I got BTC Manual. He said, "I guess the Bitcoin podcast space can only pull in so many eyeballs, and it's a small market share with some competition for those views. If, say, Saylor goes on one pod to talk about something, people are less likely to listen to the same topic on another show."
It's true. I think there are a lot of repeat guests that he has on, and I suspect he felt, he seems like an empathetic guy, so he probably felt what his audience felt with having the repeats. And also probably wants to continue growing the podcast. Probably sees it in the numbers. And it's like, wait, this isn't getting bigger.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to make it bigger, make it more general, turn it into something that's competitive with, I don't know, a Tim Ferriss podcast or, something that's more broad. But he has a Bitcoiner slant. And that's what a lot of Bitcoiners are saying anyways, is that we need more non-Bitcoin things that have a Bitcoin voice to them. Or Bitcoin, we say that with businesses a lot. There should be a lot more bars and, I don't know,
Touché.
schools and, I don't know, clubs and whatever that have that have a Bitcoiner running them, and they're not about Bitcoin strictly. They just have Bitcoin as part of it.
Yeah. And that's all the top stories of the week, Stackers, or the ones that we wanted to discuss. Minus the top 5.
We had some AMAs. We had Nico from Simply Bitcoin, who was banned from YouTube recently, which is harsh. And apparently they don't have many answers for why that happened. And I'm sure we'll learn eventually that it was a mistake of some kind. But
this might be the biggest. This might be the biggest podcast.
I think it is probably the most listened.
That's funny. Peter goes down a peg, and then new podcast king is crowned. There you go, Nico. Congrats. And then after that would probably be Brandon. Brandon Keys? B Keys?
Is Green Candle real big?
It's blowing up, dude.
Oh.
It's kind of funny how you do see there is a transition there. There's a transition.
Passing of the torch. Who were last generation's Bitcoin podcasts?
It was all the guys from 2017.
But who was?
It was like Lavera, Marty, Peter.
They're still here.
Pomp.
But they're still doing it. I mean, Pomp, I don't know what happened.
But I don't think they're not as big as these guys or I don't know, maybe Green Candle's on the same level as Marty too now. Maybe. I don't know the numbers. But
that's pretty exciting.
But yeah, dude, that was crazy to see him when I saw this. I was like, it was crazy to see him on Stacker News. He knows you exist. You're relevant now, Keyan.
This is the second AMA he's done on Stacker News, actually.
Yeah.
But that was cool. We also had an AMA with Peruvian Bull, which is another great AMA, macro thinker, writer. Had a lot of great things to say, very detailed answers.
Is that it? Oh, it's just under AMA.
If you're interested in macro stuff, especially a voice you might not have heard much from, I would highly recommend going through that AMA. Lots of great, really great answers.
What is she doing on there? She's scary looking.
Yeah, there were some other meta stuff. I think we had like a small release. Siggy's trying out his wallet. Other people trying out attaching wallets.
Trying to catch up. He's talking too fast.
Trying to deal with
There
it.
we go. Would you say which one it was? This one?
Yeah, we had a Phoenix. You can attach a Phoenix D wallet, a raw Phoenix D wallet without like a lnbits in front of it or anything, if you want to. But I would make sure it's like a Phoenix D you're only using for Stacker News, just so the amounts are small.
Oh, everybody wanted Phoenix. It looks like
people love Phoenix D because it's like it'll be the pleb running node for a while. Do you think it's the best that's out there? I think
there's like their whole.
I think they've really done. I think you have every Lightning company is going. Every Lightning application is kind of going its own way. You have LND going the stablecoin route, so they've been spending a lot of resources on that. You have Core Lightning, designing for green light, kind of low resource usage scenarios, and doing a great job at that. You have LDK, which is like this deeply integrated, hyper flexible type of situation. But then you have Async, who develops Eclair, which is this Lightning implementation that Phoenix D uses, that is specifically serving their mobile wallet, which they then spun into this server implementation, and they're going after consumers, sort of disproportionately with their model. I think we'll see everyone come back to consumers again, but they're a bit ahead in this regard because they have splicing that's live, and their LSP is gigantic. And
is that T-Blast who does all that over there?
They're a French team. I don't know who specifically. Yeah, I believe. You said T-Blast? Yeah, I believe T-Blast is on the team. I don't know who the founders are. I don't think I've ever seen them anywhere.
Keep it that way.
Yeah. Keep it hidden. Keep it whatever way. French people are just cool,
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good week.
It was
a lot to talk about. It feels like everybody's back.
Are we back?
They're back.
Where were we?
I think everybody's just on vacation. Cool. We're going to jump into the top stackers of the week. This is a reoccurring segment that's growing in popularity. Undisciplined.
Sound like Kamala Harris.
Coob.
Like nonsense.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pleb Poet and the audience gave me
Heckler.
Directing.
We have a heckler.
I love it. Makes me better. Morningstar, EK, Bitcoin Abe. Who's Sakan Warlock?
I do not know. I don't think it's Warlock. It's Waluk.
Oh, interesting.
Sakan
Getting some
Waluk.
magicians in there, some D&D
Yeah,
players.
we got. Yeah, there's
Now we're going to get into the most popular
Black magic.
segment in the game, the Bitcoin game, that is. There is no more bigger popular segment. This could be a podcast on its own. Let's just start it. Let's kick it off. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Cowboy segment. Boom.
boom. Cut
Most
it up.
popular. Clip that. That's a clip right there. Coob. Bitcoin is the future.
That's right.
Undisciplined. 117. Blockchain. Book.
It's a fairly static segment, unless people go on vacation.
TN Stacker. That's what Scoresby told me the other day. No, his blockchain. When you're listening to this, is it blockchain? It's blockchain Boog. We call him that for like 4 years.
It's Boog. He goes by Boog on like other venues. It's B for sure.
I'm not just making
Yeah.
this stuff up, Plat Poet.
No.
Sometimes I wouldn't do that. No, I remember there was a reason he used to go by Boog, right? And then he cut it off to B because he didn't want to dox himself. But he doxed him. Yeah.
No, I don't think that's his legal name.
It might be.
That helps
I mean,
all.
Super Testnet his mom named him Super Space Testnet. It's possible.
His mom.
I was watching a
shit.
clip the other day on Pleb TV where Dusty came on with Super Testnet and we did 2 mics. Oh, it was so funny, dude.
Did you touch mic tips?
No, but me and Super did it at the same time, and it was like, dude, it was the most hilarious thing. Those are man. You gotta bring back PBS.
It's a good game that men play.
I am single. Public Enemy. Public Enemy. Wow. Choke one. Dude,
Yeah, look at
everybody's
these.
here. Look at this.
Look at these hats.
Is this who we think it is? Do we know who the stacker that is hiding?
We do not know. They've been in hiding for a long time. They've not come out of hiding. It might be
It's not Ben the Carmen. Right?
Palov or whatever the Telegram founder's name is in hiding.
No,
Okay.
I don't think he's using this platform.
Well,
He's the kind of attention you don't want right now, Coob.
I'm just making guess. I'm just guess. My guess is as good as
Do you
yours,
think
Scott.
you'll ever do encrypted messaging? Or
You do want to do encrypted messaging?
you sure you want to go up that hill and fight on it?
I don't see it as a hill. I see it as more like a valley,
Just don't.
a mountain. We have.
So you wanna climb up
It's dressed like lawn clippings over here.
Oh, man. Shots fired, apparently.
Like
This is what happens. This is why it's its own podcast, the Cowboy segment.
straight out of Leprechaun's
Yeah.
birthday party.
Keyan, while I pull up the oh, here we go. Let me do the fountain boost stuff. Got open mic said fountain makes it rain. We got somebody. Blockchain Boot says, episode got cut off, missing some content zap. Yeah, for
This
some
one?
reason Fountain cut off the end, but I re-uploaded
Too
it anyway.
spicy.
So
I
it,
don't want
for
our
whatever
jokes
reason, like it didn't. The ending of last week's episode, if you were listening to the pod, we got cut off at the end. I think we were saying some controversial stuff. It's possible.
That's probably what it was.
Oscar pulled the
We're too powerful.
pulled it. He was like, "Can't let this most popular segment keep going." Love Oscar though. Anyways, that's it.
That is it. What's up with you? What are you doing this weekend?
Whoa, I'm supposed to ask that.
Yeah, that's
Keyan,
right. I'm
what are you
stealing
doing?
your
What are
lines
you
now,
doing this
buddy.
weekend, Keyan?
Okay, fine. I'll let you win. I don't think I'm going to do anything. I'm supposed to do maintenance on the site, so I'm going to take down the site, then I'm going to put it back up again.
Changing jurisdictions.
No, same jurisdiction. The United States of America,
The land of the free,
the land.
the home of the brave,
That's right.
the best constitution in the world.
So long as it lasts, yeah. And
I don't know if we can still say all these things, but God bless America.
I don't know. Got to defend democracy, Car.
It's the communists, dude. The communists inside of our government. They're trying to collapse it from within, kill innovation, arrest founders, kick them out of the country, arrest them,
Well, that's
put them behind
France.
bars.
We're not in France.
This is where it's going. I'm just, you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start carrying the Constitution around.
You should
So
just
I
wear.
could just start just referencing it everywhere
wear an
I go.
American flag like a toga around.
Yeah,
That's
I think
real,
so.
real American stuff.
Anyways,
Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be at home. I'm gonna work. That's what I'm gonna do. How about you?
I'm going to pray for America this weekend and pray that the communists inside of our government, get defected and the patriots inside our government win. I'm going to pray for that.
I don't know if they're communists.
Definitely communists, socialists.
I think they're like people that believe in elite power. I think that's mostly what it is.
It's communism.
And communism gives them more power, but I don't think
Yeah.
they like ideologically agree with communism.
I don't even think they know what communism is.
I think they're smart.
I don't think they're that smart. I think they're just following the money. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then we got Jippi Party right now. I need to set up. But,
Jippi!
Jippy's launching right now. Can we get a yay Jippy out there? Just one person. Two. Woo! There you go. Yeah, so Jippy's
Everyone's-
launching. And then, yeah, I got a lot of stuff to do. Mostly work for Mexico City.
You moving to Mexico? Get
No.
away from the communists?
No, I'm staying in
What do you
Texas. Land of the free, Texas. Come on.
Mexico and America.
It's not the plan. The plan is to save Texas first. Then we'll save America. Then we'll save the world.
Yeah, cool. Look, because we had Carlos on talking about the Mexico City block party part 2. And those guys really know how to party down there. So if you're a traveler or you're in Mexico, come to the block party. I might be there. I might not though.
You're going to go? Really?
I might.
What?
I'm keeping the door open.
Whoa.
The door is open.
This is news to me. Did you hear that?
It's unlocked.
Keyan's coming with us to Mexico.
I didn't say
Man.
I'm coming. I said I might go.
Jeez. Dude, we can do a Stacker News
I know it's
live
a
down
way.
there. You got me all pumped now.
I don't know.
Dang,
Only
you
if we dress
Dude,
like mariachis.
I would totally dress like a mariachi. We could wear mariachi hats. Dude, we'll have tequila shots. It'd be a whole thing. I had a great idea yesterday, or somebody in the San Antonio Bitcoin Club, they said we should do a Bitcoin cruise.
I don't know if that's a great idea, but it's an idea.
Or I don't know.
It's true. It's very common.
I thought it was a great idea when they told me. I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. We should totally do a startup day on a boat.
I don't know. Maybe we do like a yacht. We like rent a yacht and we have a bunch of Bitcoiners on it. Yeah, for like a day or two. Everyone.
You
could
think we can
leave.
rent
We're within
sailors-
ashore?
You think we can rent Sailor's yacht?
Yeah, he might even donate it.
Can
Like
we-
part of a
Stackers.
open sats grant or something?
Let's build a post for Sailor's yacht. We got 99 Days of Summer said happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
We got Vertigo Kid said money is also flooding into AI right now.
It's true. They're kind of-
99 Days says
taking
Bitcoin
our
payments
money.
and AI give me money.
they'll hopefully get money.
900 million users apparently.
Okay, closer to 1 billion. I was more right than you are.
Lord of the Rings was filmed in 2001. There you go.
Told you. That guy's
I love
old.
who's fact checking this. I love this.
99
HN
days.
is a top stacker. Oh, what would you feel if like Hacker News is the top stacker or top thing?
They do a great job. They have a bajillion users.
They talk about like the ultimate diss there.
Dude, it's like Wolf for something else.
Okay. I don't know where that was going.
I don't know. I want to diss you back. But I don't want to
can't-
do it enough that I'm willing to like really say
That's not a diss.
I know. But that's
They
like
pay
part
for-
of the
they pay
diss
for
is
my
that
services.
I'm like pretending
They're,
it's a
they're
diss.
my number one client. Whatever I can do to help.
It's
them.
mostly the intent that hurts when you insult someone. The
I didn't
fact
even think
I'm
that was
trying
it. This guy said that. I
Like-
didn't say that.
The fact that I'm trying to hurt you. No, but you were like doubling down. And you're like, ooh, how
No,
does that
but look, he
feel?
said it was. What if Hacker News is the top stacker?
Yeah, and you're like, how does that feel, Keyan?
I didn't say how
like
that felt. Roll back the tape. Clip this. All right, people are coming in. We got to stop this.
All right, fine.
Keyan.
Zap.